Welcome back to East Ox Explorer. If you ever wanted to hear 5 different responses from 5 different musky fishermen to a single question, ask them their favorite rod to use for musky fishing. Then ask them about specifics such as length, power, handle length, foregrip length, one piece, two piece, telescopic, style of reel seat, and the material of the handle. You're probably going to get 5 different answers on a lot of those situations and things like that. There's a lot of different styles and makeups on the market. Um, then ask them the same questions on reels, gear ratios, round versus low profile, power handle or dual knob. Then do the same with your choice of line, brand, pound test, color. You're going to get different responses from different guys. Some of them might be the same for some people, but most often you're going to get guys. You're going to get different answers from the guys. The following products I'm going to be talking about are my choices, and I'm going to explain why that I have gone the way that I did with them, with the rods, reels, and line. I do want to emphasize that these products are my choices, my recommendations to other anglers out there, whether they're seasoned veterans that are looking at other options, or people that are new into the musky fishing. Again, my choices and my recommendations, and I'll explain why I've made those choices and gone the way that I have. I don't get anything from these product mentions. I've purchased all these products. The reels I've purchased, or in one instance built. The rods I purchased, the line I purchased. I don't have any of that stuff given to me. So these are all based off of what I use and what I buy, not what I'm given and saying, here, use this and talk about it. I don't go that way. So, but I hope that you find the video, the videos coming up informative and interesting, and take something away from them. In this video, I'm going to address rods. What makes a good musky rod? Sensitivity is pretty much a non-factor. It's not like you're trying to feel for the bite or anything like you are walleye fishing. Durability is a big factor. Comfort, and above all, pricing. Warranty. If a rod is typically going to break and you need something done under warranty, it's going to happen in the first few times out if it's a manufacturer's defect. A lot of times rods will break if they get hit on the side of a boat and they weaken the rod in a spot or whatever. And you really can't tell. It could be that, but typically they're going to break within the first few uses if there's a manufacturer's defect. I've used St. Croix. A lot of times it was their Premier, but I've thrown some of their higher end stuff as well. Fenwick Techna AVs. I have used those. Those are their high end ones at the time. Abu Garcia, some of the Berkeley rods, or that Abu, not Abu Garcia, but Pure Fishing had made. They're like the lightning rods. They're low end rods, just to see what they were like. I've thrown Chaos rods, I've thrown Thorn Brothers custom rods, and I've thrown Tooth Tamer rods. I'll be honest with you, you're looking at a huge range of price points, all the way from the Berkeley lightning rods when they made them. I don't even think they make those anymore, but when the Berkeley lightning rods, the musky versions were 50, 60 bucks. So they're an entry-level rod. Not a bad entry-level rod. A little bit heavy. Didn't have the variety that guys were looking for, but it was a decent rod for someone that was just going to fish a few times a year or whatever and didn't want to invest a ton of money into it. All the way up to the custom rods that can run anywhere from $500 up to $800, $900, depending on what kind of guides you want to go with, reel seat, any of the special colors and wraps and things like that, length. You probably get up in the $800, $900 range probably for or more um, for some of the custom rods. I'll be honest with you, the number one rod that I have fallen in love with by far is a Tooth Tamer. Um, Bill Green has Tooth Tamer rods, and I absolutely love the Tooth Tamer. I bought a 9 foot extra heavy a few years ago. I needed a new rod, and I went with a 9 foot extra heavy for a bucktail rod. And I've gone out and I picked up another 9 foot extra heavy, a 9 foot 4X for my big rubber, my 9 and 10 inch twitch baits. And then I bought a 8 foot 6 inch extra heavy for glide baits, some top water, jerk baits, things like that. So I carry four Tooth Tamers in the boat with me when I'm out on the water. There's a lot of reasons why that I've gone with the Tooth Tamer, and I'll get into those. Okay, why did I go with Tooth Tamer? Number one for me, number one, far and away, it's a one-piece rod. I am not, absolutely not a telescopic rod person. I do not recommend them. I'm not a two-piece rod person. I do not recommend them. I have some old ultralights and things like that, spinning rods and stuff when I was growing up that were two-piece rods. But pretty much all of my rods I go with now are all one piece. No two-piece, no telescopic. I want the minimum potential as far as breakage points. And when you put on a telescopic, that's still a two-piece rod that's stuck together, that shouldn't come apart. You still have a weak spot right there where those things come together. And I know that companies out there have had issues with those things breaking at the ferrule, on the ferrule itself, where that rod slides in. So I personally do not recommend that. I'm going to have guys that completely disagree with me, and that's the great thing about it, is you can agree to disagree, but I am not a one that would recommend a two-piece or a telescopic rod for that reason. I want be less things to be concerned about with a rod. There are companies that make one-piece rods, but there are some popular ones out there that make the telescopic. That's all they make are telescopic rods. And I know why the guys did it. It's a ease for storing them in their rod lockers and things like that. I don't have a rod locker on my boat. If I did, I wouldn't worry about it. If any rods fitting in there, if they didn't fit, I would. I have areas where they don't get beat up on the boat and everything when I'm running, so I don't worry about that. So, but the big thing with the Tooth Tamer is that all of them are one-piece rods, no telescoping, no two-piece. The other thing is what the handles are made out of. All of the handles on the Tooth Tamer musky rods are cork. I don't like the rubberized handles. That's just for me. I don't care for those. I like having the cork. It's just for me, it's a comfort thing, whether it's cold or warm or whatever. I have no issues with the losing grip or having those things become slippery at all. The other thing is reel seat. The reel seat on Tooth Tamer is going to be your traditional reel seat. This is what I prefer on mine. I'm not a fan of the trigger, the grasp, revolution handles, whatever you want to call them, the ones that you can kind of grab onto underneath. I picked one of those things up. I had made a cast, two casts, I think, with one time, and I refused to pick one up again. For me, they're not comfortable. Um, I like having that reel in my hand. I don't need to have that thing underneath. I don't need to have that under my arm. I want that in my hand, holding onto that reel when I've got that working the bait or fighting the fish. I was actually told by a very large rod manufacturer at one of the shows that, oh, you'll like it. You get and buy one, don't worry about it. You'll get used to it. Okay. Those rods run several $100s. What if I don't get used to it? What if I don't like it? I'm kind of out of luck when it comes to investing that kind of money into it. If if you're looking at going and purchasing a rod and you're looking at one of those new handles, before you buy one, find someone that has it. Don't use one for a bit and see what you think. I personally don't like it. I think it's very uncomfortable for the way I hold the rod and things like that. So it's those types of handles and everything are not for me. I prefer the traditional handle when it comes to the rod itself. Again, for sizes of the rods and everything, the actions. Um, I know that the companies make 9.5, 10, 10.5. You can custom order probably even longer than that. I don't personally think that there's much need for over a 9-foot rod, but that's me. That's me. I go the 9-foot extra heavy for bucktails, tail prop, top water, anything slow retrieve. Could be a fat bastard, could be a hog wobbler, a creeper, things like that. Anything like the slow and steady top water where it's just cast and slow retrieve. The 9-foot extra heavy, and I've actually thrown all the way down to small, lightweight bucktails and spinner baits up to large ones, and never had any issues with those at all. The 9-foot 4X, I prefer that one for my big rubber. Any rubber baits actually, for control, for casting and everything. And also, if I'm going to be throwing, you typically late season, if I'm throwing 9-inch or 10-inch big twitch baits or any crankbaits, things like that, then I'll go with the 4X just so it handles the heavier baits and handles those things a little bit better. When it comes to the walk the dog top water, when I'm actually working the bait, a twitch bait, glide bait, jerk baits, things like that, then I went to the 8.6. I would shorten it up just a little bit for what as far as the length goes for being in the boat and everything. Shorten up 6 inches was enough for me. Some guys want to go down to an 8-foot. It's their prerogative. Whatever is comfortable for you. 8.6 extra heavy is what I went with that, and those have done very well. Also, the big thing with the Tooth Tamer is a price point. They're not the low end, they're not high end, they're kind of that right in the middle that's not going to break the bank on you. $170 to $220 out the door, pretty much on those things. You're not going to find many shops that carry them. You're going to find a few shops that carry them. You probably contact Bill Green if you go on the and check them out at the website here, biggametackle.com. You can go on the Musky rods. You can see all the companies that he has, but this one is going to be targeting the Tooth Tamer rods, and find out where you can kind of actually go and see them. But I'm going to tell you right now, you are not going to be disappointed when it comes to the Tooth Tamer rods. 8.5, 8.5, 9-foot, all the different weights and actions that you want. It's going to be able to take care of you and everything. So I would definitely take a look at and highly recommend the Tooth Tamer rods for you. Recently saw online that Brad Rue, Musky Innovations, introduced their rods again. I believe they started out with one piece and then they went to telescopic. And the majority of their rods right now are telescopic, but I've seen where they did release some rods in one piece versions. I think Brad really made a wise decision when it came to that, especially with throwing the big rubber and things like that. I know he has a lot of guys throwing his rods, but again, for me, one piece rods are going to be the way to go, and I think Brad might hit a home run with those. But he's limited right now from what I saw. Limited actions, more of the heavy stuff on the one piece. So and they look to be at a pretty good at that pretty good price point in that low $200 range. So those would be ones to take a look at. I believe I saw those where the Raleigh and Helen's Musky shop, I believe, has those. So be something to take a look at as well. To wrap up the rod video here and everything, I just want to go out and just say that the Tooth Tamer, I have, there's my 1 9-foot extra heavy. Here is this is the 9-foot extra heavy as well. It's my second one. This is should be the 8. This is the 8.6 extra heavy on this guy, and then this is the 9-foot. The 9-foot 4X for my big rubber and everything. But as you can see, these are my only musky rods that I will be carrying and using anymore. Bill Green, again, Big Game Tackle. .com. You can go take a look at them there. Great quality, fantastic price point. Bill stands behind the products. Again, if a rod is going to break, it's going to happen in the first few uses if there's a manufacturer's defect or anything like that. So I wouldn't worry about those at all. Warranty is good on them. Bill stands behind his stuff. And I personally have put that 9-foot extra heavy to some major tests and everything. Long hours, a lot of fish, a lot of fishing time, and I've never had one problem with those rods whatsoever. So I believe that you would be extremely happy, very happy with making the choice of Tooth Tamer rod. So if you're looking in getting a new rod, take a look at the Tooth Tamers. 8, 8.6, 9-foot, all different actions and everything. Those would be the ones that I would take a look at. Other than that, good luck on the water.